Alberta's story is one of resilience and rebellion, a century-long fight to secure a fair place in Canada's Confederation. From its diverse frontier roots to modern battles for autonomy, Alberta has faced relentless obstacles. Let's unpack this 120-year struggle and why it still matters today. In the late 1800s, Alberta was a cultural mosaic. Métis communities, First Nations like the Cree and Blackfoot, and settlers from Ontario, the US, the British Isles, Germany, and Ukraine. Federal policies lured immigrants to populate the prairies, fostering a rugged, self-reliant identity skeptical of Eastern control. Before Alberta's creation in 1905, Frederick Haultain, Premier of the Northwest Territories, envisioned a single, powerful province of Buffalo with a non-partisan legislature and full resource control. Prime Minister Wilfrid Laurier rejected this, splitting the West into Alberta and Saskatchewan to maintain Ottawa's dominance, setting the stage for a century of tension. By the 1920s, Alberta's resentment deepened. Unlike other provinces, Ottawa retained control over Alberta's natural resources, treating it like a colony. Throughout the 20s, the Progressive Party, rooted in agrarian frustration, rallied for resource rights, arguing the West was being exploited to fund Eastern interests. After a decade of protests, the 1930 Natural Resources Transfer Act finally granted Alberta control over its land and subsoil rights, but only after years of delay that fueled distrust. In the 1930s, during the Great Depression, Premier William Aberhart's social credit government proposed radical financial reforms, including issuing prosperity certificates to bypass Eastern-controlled banks. Ottawa and the courts swiftly struck these down, citing federal banking authority. Undeterred, Aberhart founded the Alberta Treasury Branches, ATB, in 1938, a provincially owned bank still operating today, offering Albertans a small measure of financial independence. The 1970s brought Alberta's oil boom and new battles. Pierre Trudeau's National Energy Program of 1980 redirected Alberta's oil revenues to subsidize Eastern consumers and fund federal energy projects like Petro-Canada. Premier Peter Lougheed called it a federal overreach, slashing oil production by 15% in 1981, a bold economic counterstrike. Protests erupted, with bumper stickers reading, "Let the Eastern bastards freeze in the dark." Lougheed secured some concessions like higher provincial royalties, but the NEP exposed Ottawa's power to siphon Alberta's wealth, leaving a legacy of bitterness. In the 1990s, Preston Manning's Reform Party channeled Alberta's frustration into a national movement. Their West Wants In campaign demanded a Triple E Senate, elected, equal, and effective, to give Alberta fair representation. Despite gaining seats, the Reform Party's push for decentralization was diluted after merging into the Conservative Party. Even Stephen Harper, an Albertan and Prime Minister from 2006 to 2015, couldn't shift the balance. His Senate reform proposals, including elected senators, were struck down by the Supreme Court in 2014, which ruled that changes required constitutional amendments under the 750 rule, approval from Parliament, 7 provinces, and 50% of Canada's population. This rule gives Ontario and Quebec effective veto power, locking Alberta into an unequal system. In 2021, Alberta held a referendum to remove equalization from the Constitution, a program many Albertans view as punishing their province's economic contributions. With 63% voting yes, the result was a resounding call for fairness. Ottawa's response? It was ignored. Absolute silence. No talks, no recognition, no acknowledgement. The 750 rule ensures eastern provinces, particularly Ontario and Quebec, can block reforms. This structural barrier embedded in the Constitution Act of 1982 underscores a harsh reality. Alberta's democratic mandates carry little weight in a system designed to prioritize eastern interests. For over a century, Alberta has fought for equality. From Haultain's unified West to Aberhart's economic defiance, Lougheed's oil rebellion, and modern referendums. We have tried confrontation, cooperation, federal leadership, judicial appeals, and referenda. Yet the 750 rule and Eastern dominance ensure every effort hits a dead end. Without a seismic national crisis or a bold constitutional upheaval, Alberta's hopes for meaningful reform are virtually non-existent. Our subordinate role is deliberately woven into the fabric of the Confederation. Want to learn more about Alberta's fight for fairness? Visit albertasecession.com for in-depth resources and visit our YouTube channel at Alberta Secession. Subscribe for more Canadian history and share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.